Hey y'all, I'm Byron.
And I'm Margaret, and we'd like to welcome you back to the Beyond I Do podcast, where we discuss how we've successfully navigated the past 25 years of marriage.
We are not marriage counselors, nor are we mental health professionals. We are simply sharing what has worked in our marriage. Now, on to the show. In this episode, we will be sharing stories about some of the vacations with and without kids that we've had throughout the years.
All right, so we're going to start with our very first family vacation. This was with our kids and with my mom. We went to Helen, Georgia. And if you are not familiar with Helen, Georgia, it is situated in the mountains in North Georgia. And the town is, I think it is meant to replicate Germany.
Yeah, Germany.
So a town in Germany, maybe.
Yeah.
But like the buildings and I think during Oktoberfest they have things there. So it's a charming mountain town, and then of course they have things there for touristy people to do. And so we went, and I get it mixed up with Pigeon Forge. I really don't remember it as much.
I remember, I remember the cabin because I remember driving up there, but I remember it had this steep hill to get up to the neighborhood. And was it like, it was 2 stories because I think the kids and mama was downstairs and we were upstairs.
I vaguely remember it, but we'll get to the Pigeon Forge family vacation in just a minute. But that one stands out to me a little bit more.
I know I remember going to the shops, and remember when we took the picture? It was like the Western style picture.
So that was in Helen?
Yeah, that was in Helen.
Okay, and that's one of those pictures that where you dress up in the costume and it has the sepia tone to make it look old and aged.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was a good experience. I have grown to really like going to the mountains. I love the cabins, and
yes, definitely.
It's a good mix of outdoorsy, because I'm not outdoorsy, but it gives me an outdoorsy feel, and then you have activities and things. So that's still maybe not necessarily Helen, but the mountains, that's still something that I enjoy doing.
Yeah, I love the mountains. I love just being in the atmosphere. I call it God's country, and because we live where we live, we don't see a lot of it often. So anytime I get up there, I like to just breathe that fresh air, good old mountain air. The thing I remember in Helen, I remember looking for, I was like, well, since this is German thing, I want one of them nice little sausage dogs. And I remember looking for something like that. And I do remember like walking throughout the town, because the town had, I think they had tubing, like for the summertime.
They had all different
stuff.
stuff.
All different types of walking trails and things like that.
I remember like there was a candy store or something.
Yeah,
I just remember bits and pieces of it. So
yeah.
But that was the first time that we went on vacation, on a family vacation with the kids. And like I said, my mom came with us. I was her only child, so she was very involved, and she went on a couple of vacations with us.
Yeah, I think she just liked to go and, give us a chance to do what we wanted to do. If we wanted to kind of be away,
branch
off, and she watched the kids for us while we kind of, walked off and did our thing. I remember going to the winery. We took a tour of a winery there.
Really?
Yeah, it was like because I remember coming in on the highway, the road we went to Helen, and it was one right there. And I remember we went. You don't remember that?
No.
We took a tour of it.
I don't remember that.
I know you don't remember.
At all. Like, at all.
Yeah. We took a tour. It was just me and you.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember that. Was that the I think this was the time. So y'all remember the TomTom GPS?
Yep.
Before the smartphones were as smart as they are now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we were on the way there or back, but we were wanting to stop somewhere and get something to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we had looked at TomTom said there was a Subway.
Yep.
And so
Subway, yes.
we started following TomTom's instructions.
Yep.
And it's like we were leaving the main roads and we'd turn, and then that road would be a little smaller and we'd turn again.
Yep.
And finally we were facing a dirt road that TomTom was telling us to go down.
Yep.
And to this day, I think he was trying to get us all killed.
He probably was. And
Yeah.
you know me, I was probably too cheap to update it.
Yep. Yep. All right, so that was our first family vacation.
All right, our second one was the cruise. We went to the Bahamas and we took the kids. Now that was my first time being on a cruise. Your second time, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Because you went.
I went when I was in my first year of college.
Okay.
My first year. So I was 19. I went with a couple of friends from school. One of my friends, her mom and some of her family had put together a cruise, so we went. So that was my second time on a cruise ship. And we had a good time. We poured it in...
poured it out of Canaveral.
No, I'm saying, and then when we got to Nassau, we got off the boat and
we did.
We walked over to the Atlantis Resort and walked through with the kids.
Mm. Well, I remember taking a boat over there because it was like one of those.
Oh yeah, that's right. We did. We took the boat.
Yeah.
We walked to the ferry.
Yeah, walked to the
and
ferry.
then and took the boat because he did the tour, and he was saying that the suite that connects the two parts of the resort. He was talking. The Michael Jackson suite. Yep.
Yep, and I remember seeing the aquarium they had in the lower level, the casino. I mean, it was really nice. One thing I remember getting off the ship, and like at that time, the ship was right there. You had the sidewalk, and then you just walked right into the Bahamas, and it was like a little area where they had a bunch of cars, and all of them were wrecked. It was like. The cars had all them fender dents, or you could rent scooters. They had just one little area. And I remember, we were trying to decide if we wanted to catch a cab, and then I remember somebody mentioned something about the ferry, and we saw the little boat, so we took that over to Atlantis.
And just like any other small detail, I don't remember that.
Now, one thing I do remember. It was the four of us, and Tyson and Reagan were smaller.
Yeah.
They were smaller, they were younger then, and I do remember us being in that dang cabin. So remember we had like we had the bottom beds put together, and then they had the bunk beds that you pull down.
Yep.
I do remember that, and it's like I don't even see how we even made that, but we did.
Barely, because you and the kids. Y'all had y'all's meltdowns. So the for one, Tyson. So both kids, at that point, both kids had been with a family friend who was teaching them the basics of swimming.
Yeah.
And for him, in his mind, that meant he was a swimmer.
Yep.
And he wanted to go down the slide
Mm-hmm.
on the pool on the deck. And you and him, y'all were going at it. Oh, y'all were going at it. And you finally told him, fine, go. Oh, and he stuck his little chest out, big and bold, and walked over and climbed up there and came down that slide.
His little strong behind.
Oh my gosh, and he went under the water.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. And
Came
you
back up, gasping for air.
Yep, you yoked him up out of the water.
Had to yoke him up. Like, man, see, now you got your experience.
And then, so they had the club carnival.
Yeah.
And one thing about it then, I don't know how it is now, but then, for one, the kids are right at about 4 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
So, wherever their age was, I think she was 6, he was 10, somewhere around in there.
Yeah.
Wherever their ages were was the split off for the camp carnival, for whichever room.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times if they went in there together, depending on the activity that would be happening, they would split up.
Yeah.
And they didn't like that. And then Tyson's group, they were doing a scavenger hunt on the ship.
Oh, yeah.
But it was not supervised.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't let him go. They had, he had been in there, maybe met a couple of people or whatever, and he was so excited. And I told him, no, I'm not letting y'all go on an unsupervised, like, it doesn't even make sense to check y'all into the thing. Then y'all are going to be, running around. And so this caused an issue with them, and they started whining. Oh, they were just pouting and whatnot, and then came the outburst.
Yep, the outburst. I remember, like, the Camp Carnival had those, for those of you that don't know, we were on the Carnival. Carnival, I think, what was the ship? Was it the Sensation, I think?
I don't remember.
What I do remember is, I remember that exact same ship, my mama was on that exact same ship probably 30 years ago. And the ship was new then, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't remember
that.
ship.
But I remember, like, with the Camp Carnival, they just had the odd hours, and it was like, we had to drop them off. We wanted to go hang out. We might have had maybe an hour or two, and then we had to pick them up because they shut down for lunch. And then we had to pick them up and then drop them off at like 2, and then they were done at 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we want to do something in the evening time, it was like, well, that'd be picked up by 10, 30, 11 or something like that. I remember it was just odd hours.
Yep.
And it was like, man, that's not even worth it. But, we had fun, even though, we had to.
So you're just going to gloss over your outburst?
What outburst? I don't remember.
Okay, so what had happened was...
Okay, tell me.
The kids were upset. They were pouting. They were complaining. And we tried to talk to them. We tried to explain to them that wasn't happening. They just kept going. And you said, y'all are so ungrateful. Do you know how old I was when I went on my first cruise? Now, this is my first cruise.
Oh, yeah.
And I did the wrong thing. I laughed. But it was funny to me. And it was valid. And so
Yep.
they got it together momentarily. But
I do remember going to dinner. And you know how Tyson at that time, he was at that phase where he just wanted to eat everything he saw and then gain no weight. So I remember being at the dinner, and the first night he was like, Dad, can I get the lobster? Heck yeah, you can get the lobster, son. You paid for this. Can I get the other one too? Yeah. You get the other entree too, buddy. Get whatever you want.
Yep.
We paid for this.
Did. And it's sure amazing how he was so thin. And he was thin when he was skinny when he was born. He was very long, but he didn't weigh a lot. And it was, up until he was 16, until he broke his leg, he always remained like he was growing with the growth curve that you see at the doctor's office. And he was right underneath this. He was so skinny.
Yeah.
But boy, he could eat.
Yeah, he sure could.
Goodness, he could eat. So
he sure could.
All right, so that brings us to one of my favorite family vacations.
Yes.
It's when we went to Pigeon Forge.
Mm-hmm.
You and I had gone before.
Yeah.
Without the, I don't know if I think we went to Gatlinburg, and if you're familiar with the area, Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge are right next to each other.
Yep.
I think we were actually in Gatlinburg when it was just me and you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we went up. Again, it was with the kids and my mom. And one of the things that makes this one stand out for me, and it's probably one of my favorite, is this was during spring break. And for us, spring break is the first full week in April.
Yep.
And this particular spring break, we went to Pigeon Forge. We were there for 4 days. So on the way up there, it started to snow. And so we went to the cabin and got situated, and then you and I went down and went to the store to make sure we had food and whatnot.
Yeah.
The next day, the kids were able to get up. They made a snowman. They had snowball fights. So for those first 2 days,
yep,
it was snow, and it was full-on snow that we are absolutely not used to. Like I said, they made snowmen. They had snowball fights. It was wonderful. And then, so that was the first 2 days. The second 2 days, it's like the switch was flipped.
Yep.
And it was like spring. Yep. It was literally 70, like high 70s outside. It was beautiful weather. It was clear. It was warm but not hot.
It was sunny.
Yep. We went into Pigeon Forge, and we did the go-karts, and we shopped. So it was like having 2 vacations in one.
Yes, definitely. Like a winter and a spring vacation.
Yep. And so that was one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
There's the picture of you and Reagan in the shark statue.
Oh yeah. Yep. Shark statue. Yep.
So there's a picture of the kids outside in the snow in your car.
Yeah, because they built the snowman on the car. Out of the snow that gathered on the car. I remember that.
So that was a nice one. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that was the last time that it was us and them.
Yeah.
That had a vacation.
Was.
When Tyson got a little bit older, wasn't quite as cool. So
I don't know.
And
he just ain't on the fool with us as far as vacations no more, which I was like, man, shoot, I would have loved to have gone with my folks when they was going all around the world, but he got burnt out pretty quick. One of the things I do remember about Pigeon Forge was, the food was phenomenal where we ate at. They had the outlets. We did do some shopping. We did a little shopping.
What food?
It's a different restaurants.
Okay, I do vaguely. I remember being in a restaurant and where it was located.
I remember we went to it was called the Great American Buffet or something like that. And I remember going to that and
when did we do and this might have been just me and you, or did we take the kids, God, what is it called? They have something similar in Atlanta, I think, where they have the big, the big arena, and it's closed. You have the show and then you eat.
Oh yeah.
They have
I think that was me and you.
Okay.
I think that was me.
That one was it was a rodeo themed one, but they
Uh-huh.
have the medieval themed ones and things like that.
Yep.
I love stuff like that, except for the fact that, we need to find the name of that. I love stuff like that, but the food, so it's they have the show that's going on, and then they have the food, and it is literally like a big arena or civic center type thing.
Yeah.
And so when you think in terms of serving food to that many people, it makes sense why they do this. But because I am how I am, it bothered me. But the food, so when you pay for the ticket, you have the show and you have the food. and the food was the same for everybody. It was half of a rotisserie chicken, it was half of a baked potato, and some type of vegetable, and then a roll.
Yeah.
And so everybody has the same thing. So they would like, did they pass it down or did they move through? It was.
I think they moved through because like they brought you the specifics. Like they brought us the food. Like they would bring.
Maybe they had an appetizer. They had an appetizer,
yeah, like an appetizer,
and then the meal, and then a dessert.
Yeah, that's
some
right.
type of turnover or something. And the food, I like the food, but because of the nature of what they do, they don't give you utensils.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So the baked potato is literally just cut in half, so that you can kind of pick it up and bite it.
Yeah.
And oh my God, that just.
Yeah, that kind of threw me off because I'm like, yeah, I got baked potato. I can't put my butter and sour cream and all that stuff on there.
Yep.
Yeah, I do remember that. That was interesting. And I love the go-kart tracks, you know. And I remember going from track to track. Got a few pictures that with us, Hilda took some pictures while we rode the carts with the kids. 'Cause
Yep.
we took each of them on the cart ride because they were too small to drive. But yeah, that was really a fun one, a good, memorable trip to Pigeon Forge. And like I said, that was probably the last one that we did.
I found it. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Dolly's Stampede is the one that's in Pigeon Forge, and the one that is. The other one that I was trying to think of is Medieval Times.
Medieval Times, yeah.
And that's, like I said, the dinner is like the half a chicken. It's all stuff that you use your hand because they don't give you utensils.
Because it's a thing. It was a rodeo style.
Yeah, the show was the rodeo. So, anywho, I had to find that because my brain wasn't going to let me rest until I did.
Okay.
All right, next one.
All right. Next trip, it was it was family. But mine is our son, because our son, in his mind, he didn't want to go with us. He was a little older, so, and I guess he felt he wouldn't enjoy it. So we decided to take one of Reagan's friends, and we took your grandmother this time.
Yep.
And I remember getting an Airbnb, and it was a pretty nice house.
I did, and that was the first Airbnb experience? Yeah. That was it. It had a pool in the back, but the thing about it was the bugs.
Yeah.
The bugs were so bad.
Yeah.
The girls, I think they tried to get in, but then, oh, wait a minute. Shout out to Coco, our other child.
Yep.
But I think they went out there and tried to play in it a little bit, but the bugs were so bad. They had the net thing and they were trying to clean it out. You know,
I remember that.
You know how a lot of places or houses in Florida, when they have the pools, they'll have the covering. It didn't have anything like that. But other than that, we grilled out, we cooked.
Yep, I remember doing that.
My grandma came with us, and I enjoyed it. You know what? I enjoyed everything except. Do you remember how badly sunburned I got?
Yeah.
We went to the beach.
We went to the beach.
Yep.
We got sunburned like crazy.
Yep. Sunburn, and then or the beach, and then the museum.
Yep.
We went to the zoo.
Yep, sure did.
So that was a nice trip to Jacksonville.
Yeah, that was a nice trip, and I remember driving to the beach. I remember it was like a mile. It was probably like 10 miles of just every car dealership you could think of, every type of vehicle. They had a lot on that particular strip. You know, from Porsche to Jaguars to Lamborghinis, Rolls Royce. I mean, I remember that. And because I'm a car buff, and that was exciting. And I remember getting to the beach, and Grandma sat out there in her chair. She didn't get no water.
Grandma we went to the beach. We went to the zoo.
Mm.
I think at one point at the zoo, she got a little bit tired.
Yeah.
We sat there. We had like ice cream or something in that little area.
Yeah. Mm.
But that was even towards the end. We were getting ready to go.
Yeah.
But that was neat. We went to Dave and Buster.
Yep.
That was the first time I've been to Dave and Buster, and it was very overstimulating.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely.
But that was a neat experience. I like Jacksonville. I like the proximity to us because it's not too far. I like the fact that there's the beach there and other stuff to do. So that was nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
All right, and then our last family vacation was the first time we went to my beloved New Orleans.
Yes.
We took Reagan and Coco, and it was love at first sight. It was wonderful.
Yes. The
food, the people. We did a nighttime ghost tour with the girls.
Yep.
That was neat. We learned a lot of stuff there. We did the riverboat dinner and cruise with them.
Yep, sure did. Yep.
Their Riverwalk area and mall. So that was a good time. We had a good time. Now, because we had the girls, and because that was our first time there, we really didn't go into the quarters. We stayed on the perimeter.
Yeah. We stayed on the perimeter.
Yeah, because the hotel was in the
it was in, I think it was
the warehouse district. Yeah. So we were further off, and we would come down by the Riverwalk area and those things on that end of the quarters, and we didn't go up and through everything because the girls were with us. Now, when we had the tour, of course, we saw more things.
We saw more stuff. I don't recall going anywhere near Bourbon Street or anything like that. I do remember the tour taking us pretty close, but we were kind of like, well, and the girls, it was Reagan's birthday. It was around her birthday, wasn't it? I can't remember if it was.
No,
it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
I don't believe so. She got upset. What did she? She got upset about something because our last full meal, because the flight home, we had to get up super early.
Oh yeah. And
so our last night there, I can't remember what. Maybe it was something.
Crab or
it was some food that she wanted.
And they didn't have
and they went. The restaurant that she wanted to go to, I don't think it was open.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And so we ended up going. If I'm not mistaken, we went to the one on the corner.
Yep, went to the one on the corner.
And then
and she called herself out, and I don't think she ate anything.
She didn't. And that food was so good. We've gone there several times since. But that was so that was it in terms of the vacations that we did. Now we had some smaller road trip type things with the kids. We'd take them different places. Yeah. Go visit family and stuff.
Families, things like that. Yeah.
But those were our major ones with the kids.
All right. Now we're on to vacations with just the two of us. It was the first time her and I together went to Las Vegas.
So it was after my birthday trip where I left you.
Yep.
We went to Vegas for the first time.
Yep. What I remember about that trip, I remember we stayed in Old Vegas. It's like the Golden Nugget. Actually stayed in the Golden Nugget Hotel. And we were right there at Fremont Street.
Yep.
And it was live action every night, something to do. So we didn't have to necessarily go to the Strip, but we did. I remember it was the year that Michael Jackson passed away. So remember we went to the was it the Madame
Madame Tussauds
wax with the wax figures and all. And I remember they had a statue of Michael Jackson that people were like leaving like cards and things like that outside of the venue. And I remember it was hot.
Oh gosh, yes, we went in July.
Oh my God, it was
and
like
I do not recommend.
117 during the day, and like 103 at night.
So, the weather was horrible in terms of like my sinuses and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I had started feeling sick. Like it just the sinus pressure and stuff. And so we had made plans to eat at this one buffet, and I wasn't feeling the best, but we went. And so we were sitting up there, we're standing in line, and we noticed the signs, and we were like within 20 minutes or so of them going from lunch to dinner.
Yeah.
And so we're standing there trying to decide if we were going to go ahead and get lunch or if we were going to get dinner. And then I was like, wait a minute. And so I don't know if we asked or what. I think we asked, if we pay the lunch price and they're switching, does that affect anything? And they were like, no. So we paid, and it was right at the change from lunch to dinner. So we went through that first time and got some of the lunch stuff, and we ate, and then we waited, and they put out dinner.
Yep.
And so me being me and making sure that we get your money's worth. I ate and ate and ate, and when we got back to the room, I was stuffy. My head and like nose was hurting from my sinuses.
Yep.
And I was stuffed. I felt like I could be rolled to the room. I was so stuffed. That was the most miserable time. And then it was so hot, and the heat there is dry. We're used to heat, but we're not used to that level of dry heat.
Right.
So that was not good. But I learned my lesson. One, I don't want to go to Vegas during July.
No time when it's warm.
And two, gluttony is in fact a sin. So,
I remember going to the Strip at nighttime, and we walking around, and then we see all these people just flicking these cars. It's like, the heck are they doing? They just standing like in the walkway, passing you cars. I'm like, what the heck is this? And then you look at the card, and it's like, has a woman on there with the phone number. And I didn't realize up to that point, they said, oh yeah, prostitution is legal there. So they were
not inside city limits, and that's what it was. It's not inside city limits. So they have the cards.
Yeah.
And you make arrangements to go to the outskirts or whatever.
To the outskirts. Yep. Okay, yeah. So that was a trip. And I remember keeping some of them and bringing some home and showing it to guys at work. that was a trip.
All right. So, the next one is one that is one of my favorites.
Yes.
We went to Dillard, Georgia, which is again in North Georgia.
Yep.
It is in the mountains, but it's not as far up as Helen, is it?
Is that?
Or it's over.
It is further. Helen is kind of like at the tip of the mountain almost, but Dillard was more kind of like, the city is actually more on the cusp of the main highway, so it's a little bit more flatter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we went to Dillard, Georgia. There is it's a hotel called the Dillard, or it's a restaurant, there's a hotel,
Yeah.
and then they have
Dillard
cottages
House.
called Dillard House.
Yep.
And so we had heard about the restaurant and it was good, and we looked at the site. So this was for my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And so we looked at the site. Now, you made the arrangements, but we had some struggles in the past when you go it alone. So I had to oversee the housing selection. And they have, I can't remember which was which, but they had the chalets and the cottage and all these little cute names. One meant you had a little small living quarters to stay in. The other one meant this is smaller than the small.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I wanted whatever the little small one was.
Mm.
But you. I think that one cost considerably more, so we got the little small one. And y'all, I'm so glad nobody was on the other side. What's the other side?
I think it was rentable, but nobody rented it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and when I tell you it had no business at all being one building providing accommodations for two different, it just didn't.
Yeah, it was tiny.
It was, you walked in, it had a nice little screen porch, and then you walked in and there was the living room and kitchen, and then to the right was the bedroom and bathroom.
Yeah.
And so the
that doggone kitchen was something else with it.
So in the kitchen, and I don't know that we even have a picture of this, and I'm so disappointed of myself.
We don't.
So I started calling it the sink stove generator, because, and that's the thing, I can tell people this, but they don't believe you because it sounds so absurd. But the sink area, there was a stove and a refrigerator. It was all one thing. How can you have water and electricity and all that stuff going in just one thing? It was amazing but scary. It was something.
Yep.
So that was interesting. And then one of my favorite parts of there was the vineyard. It's a 12 Spies vineyard.
Yep.
And we went there. The first night we went, I don't think we went on my birthday. The first night wasn't on my birthday.
No, the first, well, it was
the day before.
Mm-hmm. So I remember we were like, because we started out like, it gave you like the wine testing, so you could taste the wines. And I can't remember, it might have been like $2.
I think there was
$2 a sip or something, $1 a sip or something like that.
So it was like, or what we ended up doing, they have like the list of reds and then the list of whites. And so you could get per taste.
So we started with I remember starting with the
We started with the whites.
Yeah.
Because I prefer sweet wine.
Yeah. And we went down those. And then by the time we got done with the whites, we was like, hell, let's try the others. So we tried the reds.
Yep. And it's
amazing
amazing because
when
we didn't. I don't think we really liked the red, but we went down that list.
We was feeling so good, it was like, well, we might as well. And they invited us to come back the next day, which happened to be your birthday, and they had a live guitarist or something like that. Mm-hmm. He was gonna be playing on the back porch, and they had was it honeybees? They had bees on the property. They had honeybees on the property, so they were making honey. And we met a nice couple when we were there, kind of chat with them. And I remember that was when we took the tour. Then we came back, and that's when we had the guitarist playing the music. Remember the lady and her dog.
They had on their back deck, they have a pizza oven, one of the stone pizza ovens, and they were saying they have the bring your own pizza night. If I'm not mistaken, I think they still have it because I followed them on social media, and there was recently where they canceled one because of weather. But you could bring like a frozen pizza up there, and they would cook it in the pizza oven, and you listen to the band or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, so when we went back the next night or the next day for my birthday, time we walked in, the lady was like, "Birthday girl," and she came up and hugged me.
Yep.
But you glazed over your friend
What's that?
that you met. So there was an older woman who had her dog with her. And she walked right over to you and started talking. And so the dog, maybe a little Maltese or something.
I think so. I can't remember what it was.
He was white, and he had on the service vest harness thing. And so she walked over to you. The dog came to you first.
Yeah.
And she walked over to you and she said, Poopy Butt doesn't like anyone. But he came right to you. And she picked Poopy Butt up and plopped him in your lap. Yeah. And so you were talking to the dog, playing with the dog, and while Poopy Butt was in your lap, she was petting the dog while he was in your lap. And so she explained that was her service dog, that her husband had a difficult time with some mental health issues and unfortunately had taken his life. And she got the dog afterwards as an emotional support pet.
Oh, okay. You see, you remember that. I don't remember all that.
Well, she was petting Poop Butt, who was in your crotch.
I do remember that. I do remember that. I do
Okay.
remember her petting the dog. But, and another interesting thing we did was the horseback riding. And now that was free-handed. They had a guide. They taught you what to do, and you control the horse yourself. And that was pretty interesting. And I remember at one point, which they said, you would be in probably waist-deep water, but not really realizing what they were talking about, actually going through it. I remember like the water almost coming up to the stirrups. I do remember that. It was like kind of hold my feet out because I had some newer shoes at the time, and I didn't want my new shoes to get wet.
Well, my horse, that was his first time out. He was younger.
Yeah.
And so he was learning the ropes, and I don't feel like it should have been on me to help him practice because I don't know what I'm doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. And when we got to the clearing, she was telling us about the horses and how the family cares for them and whatnot. And so when the guides were like, they were teenage girls. It was family. And so she was telling us how you'll notice when we turn this next bend and they realize this is the last stretch. Yeah. She said some of them are going to pick up speed because they know we're almost back.
Right, yeah.
And so when we turned that last stretch, it was beautiful. It was like this big open field and you could see the grass and the mountains. But all of a sudden my horse stopped. No, I take it back. She stopped and she stopped my horse. And she said very quietly, there's a fawn in the clearing. And we looked over and we saw the fawn. And my horse, she said, I don't know how he'll react.
Oh, yeah.
And so let's wait and let the fawn pass. And at that point, I was ready to get off because again, I didn't sign up to be anybody's guinea pig, but they didn't ask me.
Right. The other important detail was the food at the dinner house. It was kind of buffet style, but
they call it.
What they did was they had like the main menu for the day, so they listed all the food, like whether if it's gonna be fried chicken, cabbages, green beans, or whatever. So they had the the main portions of the meal. And what they would do is they seat you at the table, and then they bring you whatever until you tell them to stop. If you wanted more chicken, you bring more chicken. You wanted more greens, they bring more greens. Whatever it was, they put it on the table for two, and they would take it, the empty, and then they'd bring you some more.
They call it like family style or something.
Yeah.
Because they bring it in like the serving bowls with the big serving spoons.
Yep.
And you pick out, which entree or whatever.
Right. Yeah, that was an experience. The food was
pretty good. The food was good. We've heard since then people say that the food is not as good.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
But
I hadn't talked
when
to
we
anybody
went,
that I know that being in the wild. I've told people about it, but I hadn't had anybody who said they've gone recently.
So when we went, it was good, but who knows?
Yep. Our next solo vacation, we'll kind of combine the two because they were very similar. We went at separate times, but we went to Cancun and we went to St. Croix. And both of those, what was different about them, they were all inclusive.
All inclusive, and all adult.
Alcohol, you drink, and all adults. No kids were around. And with St. Croix, we went in the off season. Mm-hmm. And I think it was like...
we were like...
October, September, October, somewhere like that. And it was barely even people there.
It was wonderful, though.
Yes, it was.
It was wonderful. The staff and everything, because we were able to, they would recognize us, and Big Tipper didn't realize that gratuity was...
Because you didn't tell me. Yep.
I apologize. However, when we got there, y'all, he was handing 20s to everybody. He was slipping them.
I wouldn't have no 20s.
He was slipping them.
It might have been 1s and 5s. I wouldn't have no 20s.
It wasn't 1s and 5s.
Nah, I wasn't doing no 20s.
It wasn't 1s and 5s. Because after that, they really treated us like royalty.
I remember going to sit by the pool.
Yep.
And it was like, we had breakfast that morning. I don't know, it was probably like 11, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And you were like, you gonna drink this early? And I was like, yeah, we're on vacation. When else I'm gonna drink? So we sat there by the bar and had some drinks. And sat up there for a while. I think it was overcast. Now the worst part about the St. Croix thing, which they said that in the advertisement, but during this particular season, the seaweed was real bad. And I remember
it's that red,
like reddish color. And I remember the tractors that they would have the workers on tractors pulling the seaweed off of the beach, so that some of the guests would probably try to enjoy the beach. And it was a stench too. But they did have another area where they could take you, and the seaweed wasn't there if you wanted to go. But we
didn't.
I didn't see the need to really leave the resort because everything was right there. The food was fantabulous. The drinks were on point.
Did you say fantabulous?
Yes, fantabulous. I did. Some made up word, I know.
All right.
And Cancun, which was that was later on. That was all inclusive, and it was all adults, and I really enjoyed that. They had a theme night every night at the little DJ booth. They had like a little party.
Yeah.
Every night, different little themes. That was nice. I really enjoyed that. They had several different restaurants on the property. So, if you wanted this type of food, this particular time, or you can go get this type of food, and then they always had the the basic food like you can enjoy, and that was nice. I really like that.
That was another one that was around my birthday.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. I don't remember what was it my birthday night maybe that I overdid it.
Yeah, you overdid it
And
the night
so,
before.
there's a lot of vacations where I had one day that I
Oh
was out
yeah,
of
because we were
commission.
supposed to go on that little party cruise thing, and we weren't able to make it. Yeah.
We were, y'all, I was so embarrassed. We were standing in line, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna make it.
Mm.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't make it at all. But I know I'm sitting here thinking about it. Yep. All right, so our next memorable vacation. I actually, I don't know if it's still a thing, but there used to be this classroom Jeopardy game. I was on their website and they were having a contest to win a trip to see the filming of Jeopardy.
Mm.
And, I did the thing, didn't think anything of it. And so, however long it took for the deadline to enter, it had been a while. It was probably at least a couple of months. I got a phone call, and so the woman said, "Before I start, I want you to know this is real." It's like, okay, and she told me that I had won. So we won, or I won the trip for us to go to Los Angeles.
Yep.
To see the filming of Jeopardy. It was all expense paid.
Yep.
We had the flights, we had ground transportation to and from the hotel. We stayed in the Beverly Hills Hilton.
Yep. We stayed in the hotel. Whitney Houston passed away.
We did.
Several months
It was a
later.
few months before.
Was it before or was it after?
It was before.
It was before, okay.
It was before. We went the December before she passed.
That's right.
Yep.
Yep.
And y'all, leave it to us to have a free vacation and mess it up, because our local airport. I get mad thinking about it.
Yeah.
We got there, and we didn't get there in time. But this is the thing: the checkout counter is literally around the corner from where you board the plane.
Yep.
And so when we got in there,
like a 5 a.m. flight or something like that.
Something like that. We got there, we check in, and she said they're preparing to go. But they had not, they were still there.
Yeah.
Well, can we just go no, you've got to wait.
Yep.
And so we waited. And so we missing that flight meant we missed our connecting flight. We missed that flight. Yeah, we missed our connecting flight.
Yep.
And so we ended up...
I think we ended up flying from here to Charlotte, and then we flew from Charlotte to there.
No, because we went to Atlanta, but we were in the Atlanta airport for hours. We went there was a little restaurant and bar that we went to eat.
Yeah.
Then we went back to the gate. We sat there. We watched movies on the laptop.
Okay.
You remember that? It felt like.
Okay, we went to Charlotte and we went to Vegas that time.
I guess.
Yeah.
It was like something you see on the movie though. Us at the airport. It looked like we lived there. Yeah. We had been there so long.
Yeah.
So we got there, and because we got there, we ended up getting there late. We missed the ground transportation from the airport to the hotel. And to this day, I'm mad because I still want to go to the airport and the man hold the sign up with my name on it. And that was my time, and we missed it.
It never happened. Yep. Yep.
We went to the Improv Comedy House.
Yep.
We ended up seeing.
Saw comedian Red Grant.
Yep, that was good.
There's a couple other comedians that I remember from the old Def Comedy Jam days. Now, as far as the taping of Jeopardy, that was interesting. I remember we sat there in the audience, and they had one side for the contestants, and then they had the other side for just the audience, and they had the MC person, come out there and talk to us, and just ask us different questions, and they had the sign that would pop up to tell you when to clap, and they actually did it as if they were taping the show. And when they went to commercial break, that's when they would, cut, and then Alex would come out and, ask questions. He might tell a story sometimes, or he would ask questions. And I think we ended up sitting through, 3 different shows, I think it was?
I think it was a week's worth.
It was a week's worth they were taping, but they only gave us so many that we sat through. And because I remember them telling us, like, the actual show wouldn't probably air until like April or something like that, the one that we were there taping. And I did remember them, because on the TV show, all of them are the same height, so to speak, but they had the little boxes up there, so they would adjust the height of the player to kind of get everybody kind of in sync. I remember seeing that.
We got bags. They gave us tote bags that had Jeopardy. We had, was it T-shirts?
Yep,
T-shirts. Like, there was all types of stuff in the bag.
Pens.
You got to ask Alex Trebek a question. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Do you remember what you asked?
He had just he had shaved his mustache, and so he had no mustache. But I asked him something about his mustache.
You did. I think you asked him how long did he plan on, going without his mustache or going with that look. And so that was neat during those times, how he talked to the audience and, answered those questions. That was neat.
Yep.
So that was the trip that made me a Clippers fan.
Yep.
Because something must have been going on at the time, and
it was the lockout, I think. NBA had a lockout, so they started the season kind of late because they were on strike, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, they were.
Go ahead.
A couple of the players. We never really pinpointed who they were, but there were players at the hotel.
Yeah.
And I can't remember when I saw a Clippers jersey. I don't know what I saw, but up until that point, I was like, I didn't realize that was a real team. I had stopped following basketball. At that point,
Was that, I don't know if that was Blake Griffin's first or second year. It might have been the second year. So I know it was the year that after that is when he won the slam dunk competition when he jumped over the car.
Mm-hmm.
And we started following them. And been a Clippers fan ever since.
Yeah, I said I was going to be their fan.
Yep.
All right. Next up.
We took a family trip.
Family as in our niece and nephew, Paul and Shanda, and then
my brother and his now wife, she was his girlfriend at the time. Several of my niece and nephew's friends. We went to Jamaica, and that was all inclusive, and it was all adults. And that was fun.
Yeah.
I remember when we first got there, we ended up going to this restaurant. No, we got to the hotel.
Miss Shanda had been there before. She had been to Montego Bay before.
Okay.
And so she kept saying, we got to go to Pepper's.
Yeah, that's right. It was.
And so
they didn't have our rooms ready or something like that.
Yeah.
When we got there, so we got the shuttle guy to take us to Pepper's. And we sat there, and he waited on us. We sat there and ate. Now, one thing I do remember about Jamaica was them roads was raggedy. We was in that
Scary.
that van, and they drive on the opposite side of the road. So that was going on, and then the way they merge in the traffic, they don't just ain't no signal light. It's just get over. That was crazy. But what else did we do there? Okay,
they had the theme nights.
Theme nights. Oh,
so we would do the different things, the different shows and the parties. And
now me and my brother was sitting there, and my brother, he's a big tipper too. So we sitting up there at the bar before we went to the restaurant, get our first little drinks, and so we getting, he's tipping the bartender, I'm tipping the bartender. So that particular bartender was working that night, and he was fixing them drinks strong. And boy, I remember the night. I don't remember half the night. Oh my gosh! I just remember we was feeling good that night.
So there was there were 3 resorts there together.
Yep.
And so the resort next to us had a nightclub. We got there on a Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
And so we ate, we rested and stuff, and we went down for the show that night, and then we said we were going to go to the other property, to the little club.
Yep.
And oh my gosh, y'all, he fell asleep in the club. He sat, they had a chair, and it was the oddest thing, because it was like it looked like a living room chair. Like it was a...
Yeah, it was like a lounge chair.
Yeah.
They had several little lounge chairs, and then you had the dance floor.
One of our niece and nephew's friends, he was coming to tell me that somebody had taken your phone or something.
Mm.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I went over there, I'm calling your name. Your phone is obviously sticking out of your pocket.
Yeah.
So I'm asking him, what are you talking about? Because all I knew was that rum punch was telling me it's time to dance.
Mm.
And between you and him, y'all were messing that up. And then, when that was done, we were leaving there. The jerk chicken man.
Oh yeah, dude had in the walkway. Dude had a grill and chicken. He was grilling the chicken. Mm-hmm. He had the jerk sauce. Oh my God.
That was so wonderful.
It was nice and it was good and it was spicy. That jerk chicken was off the chain.
It was. It was wonderful.
And we looked for him every night after that.
Yep.
I think that was the one night that everybody was together. That night. But after that, we couldn't get half of them jokers. Everybody was doing their own thing. So
yep.
At the time we hang out that night, it was a few people showed up in our group, but other people did other stuff. So
yeah.
That was really fun.
And then they had, so that, like I said, we got there on Saturday. We left on that, I think, Wednesday.
Yeah.
And so Sunday, that was the only night that the club thing was there. But they had the stuff at the resort, the different shows and things like that. And then we went on the excursion.
Excursion,
yeah. So we did zip lining and dune buggies and the party boat, which was my favorite. Zip lining was completely out of my character, but I did it, and I'll have to do it again.
It was fun, but I ain't got to do that ever again. I mean, that's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, I did it. Nah, I ain't got to do that no more.
The dune buggies, they were okay.
Yeah.
And it was uncomfortable because you were going through where people lived.
Yeah. Remember we riding down the street, and the little girl, it's a little girl, I don't know what she was, but she shot a bird as we was riding by.
And I was like, you know what? We riding
through
these
people.
Right. But, and then the party boat. So,
oh yeah.
This vacation is, I had an awakening to the fact that I was older. And so on the boat, I'm looking at these people who are, probably young enough to be our kids. And I'm like, gosh, I'm getting old. And so everybody's sitting with their respective group on the boat. And
they had people snorkeling.
there was a couple of people who were snorkeling. So we couldn't have music or anything like that because they needed for it to be quiet. And people were, it was like almost like you didn't want to be in the vicinity of people you did. It was just, it was odd.
Yeah, it was weird.
And so when they got done, they got back on the boat. They were like, "It's time now," and they had some ready-made rum punch.
Oh yeah.
And after rum punch,
and the music
nothing
started.
mattered.
Yeah, yeah.
It didn't matter how old. It didn't matter your race.
It kind of
just had a good time.
It kind of looked like that, you know, one of those movies where like they would have the kids like at the dance and nobody's talking to each other. Everybody's just kind of standing around sitting.
Yep.
Everybody kind of like, you know, looking at each other. And after a few of them punches, you was acting like they was your best friend.
Yep.
Hugging up on them, talking to them. Yeah, man, you know. And that was a really good time.
Yep. That was one of my favorites. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. So.
All right. Next one is San Francisco. We went to San Francisco. What was it? 3 years ago now? 2 years ago now?
21.
Yeah. I what I remember is because, you know, they were going to San Francisco, California. Hey, Sunshine State. Not. I remember getting there, and first thing I had to do was find a jacket because, you know, didn't realize the Bay Area got cold. And this was July.
Yep.
This is in July. And then we with jackets and jeans on. And we ended up finding a Target, and went to get me a jacket and had to wear that thing pretty much the whole time. I brought sleeves, but I wasn't thinking it was going to get cold.
And
but it got cold.
I wore Ugg boots the whole time.
Yeah.
The only reason I had the Ugg boots was for the flight because I get cold on the airplane.
Mm-hmm.
And I wore Ugg boots the whole time. Ugg boots, jeans, my jacket. It was cold.
Yeah. What did we do? We did a tour. We did 2 tours. First tour we did was they basically took us around San Francisco, downtown, showed us the different historical areas, gave us a little history about the city. We got to see
the painted lady
houses.
Mm-hmm. We stood on that, the hill where the Full House theme is.
It was interesting.
Recorded.
Right there, as we were going back to the shuttle, there was a Ida B. Wells school.
Yep.
That was like right. We were standing right in front of it. I was like, wow, that was interesting. It was right there by the painted lady houses. And what else we saw? We saw Levi Strauss Company, their headquarters, like right there. Chinatown. Yeah, we went to Chinatown. Got some authentic Chinese food. One where like I ain't never seen nothing like this before. But you're off the street, and you walk up this set of stairs, and when you get to the top, look to the right, and the restaurant is there. And they had some really good food.
We went to the wharf and ate dinner.
Went to the wharf and ate dinner. Yep.
Muir Woods. You got to see the.
Yep, that was the next. It was the same day.
Mm-hmm.
But we had another tour. We went to Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah, went to Golden Gate Bridge, and went across it. And we went to Muir Woods, saw some California redwoods.
That was one of the things that you were excited about.
Yeah, I was excited about that. I was like, I got to see some redwoods now. But it was interesting, man. We took some pictures standing inside of the trees and trees that were laying down on the ground. I really enjoyed that. And then come back, the Sausalitos. The driver was real nice. He was willing to wait on us to make sure that we enjoyed our time, and then he took us back to the hotel.
Yeah.
Yep.
which I enjoyed it. It was an experience, but I've not thought, ooh, I want to go back.
Nah, I ain't thought about that because if it's cold in July, to me it might be what they said. But they said the weather was different though.
Yeah, but it was an experience. I'm glad we had that experience. So.
Yeah, definitely experience. All right, so where we at?
Our final and my favorite.
Oh yes.
That would be New Orleans.
Yes.
I'm looking at the outline of our notes, and we did this before our New Orleans trip in July.
Yeah.
And there's something on this list that made me relive the sadness that I felt while we were there.
What's that?
You don't know what it is?
Hold on.
Leave the list.
Bourbon Street drinker and them truffle fries.
Yes.
God almighty.
So.
Oh my goodness.
We would, but okay, so I'm thinking about what she said. We must have not gone. So there's a bar, the Bourbon Street Drinkery, and we would go there, and they had the best truffle fries.
Yes.
I mean, like, we would go there and we would eat fries
and get a drink. Yes.
Repeatedly.
Yes.
And so when we got ready to go in July, y'all, I was so happy.
Yep.
We got there.
That was the first place we went to.
That was the first place we went. We put our stuff down. We went walking up Bourbon Street and walked in. And so, me being me, they had the menus there and they had the QR codes. And when I scanned the QR codes, all I saw was drinks.
Yep.
And so I asked the waitress for a menu. And she gave me the drink menu. And so then I'm like, well, duh, you saw me scan the thing. Yep. This is the same thing.
Yep.
So I said, excuse me. And she came back over and I said, do you have a food menu? And she said, we don't serve food. What? What? And I said, wait, food. The truffle fries. God. And she said, yeah, we stopped serving food. The way that she said it, she said something about, I think that they were doing food when they were doing it to help offset COVID. During COVID, they shut down. Then, of course, stuff starts opening back up.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that selling the food was probably to help boost things until, they got back going. But that broke my That broke my heart. That hurt my feelings.
That hurt my heart, yeah.
But we did. We've got the parades listed. We did see a parade. So when someone gets married, they'll march through the quarters with the wife will have the parasol and things. So that's always neat to see.
We caught the beginning of that when we just recently.
Just recently. But they also, we've seen just marching bands that are going through there.
And now they have the kind of like the bands will set up in a certain area, and they'll play the drums and the cymbals, and those kids are very talented. My hats off to them. One of the things that I think, looking at this list on these notes, everything that we did it this time, except for the time before we did the Whitney Plantation tour. That was interesting. It was about an hour away from the city. They actually brought a shuttle that came and got us, picked several people up, and they took us to the plantation. And the way this plantation is set up is they actually have sculptures of like the slave children in the actual plantation, like different little settings. So you might see a little kid sitting out there on the porch outside the slave quarters. You might see another statue or somebody carrying something. It was really interesting, but they did have some damage because they had just had got out of hurricane season. They had something kind of mess up the church, some damage to the church. So, but it was different, like I said, with COVID because they actually had like these headphones, and when you just let them know what part you were at, and it would tell you, you know, about the history of where you were standing at, and then you can kind of just stand there and then you go to the next destination. That was a very interesting tour. I really enjoyed that. And come back, and let's see, pretty much everything else, same thing. I got in trouble for my Falcons clothing this
Always.
time, as I always do.
Yep.
Now this past time, it was the first the couple of years back when I went. You know, I wear my Falcons gear and stuff, just walking down the street. You know, people cut up with you, but I mean, it's all fun because, you know, they're Saints fans, and I get it. You know, that's one of our big rivals. But I remember going back, and the TSA lady, she was like, "Oh, yeah." She said, "I got me one now." She said, "We about to be strip searched."
Yep.
But she was cutting up with me. And then this past time, you know, I wore my Falcons gear there. So, you know, we're walking around. Ain't nobody really saying nothing too much. And then we're on the way back to the hotel. So these young kids are sitting out there. And the young boy said something to me about, y'all from Atlanta?
Y'all, yep.
I said, yeah. He said, when y'all leaving?
Nah, he said, go home. He said, go
He
back.
told me to go back.
Yep.
Yeah. I said, I'll go back Monday.
Yep.
That was a trip. And then we didn't hit our crystals this time.
No, we didn't get crystals.
We did get our Popeyes.
We went to Popeyes. We went to Neo's.
Yep, Neo's.
We took Shannon Paul to Neo's.
And actually, we did the wonderful hotel we stayed in.
Yep. That was where we recorded.
Our video.
The episode with Paul and Shannon.
Yep.
The AC Marriott.
Yep, the AC Marriott in Louisiana. So that's our second home. We love it. The steamboat.
Yeah, we went on the boat again. Yeah.
Cruise. That was interesting. I actually saw a Carnival cruise ship.
Yeah, at the port.
We were on that ship. Never saw that. But, you know, got our usual drink on, food on. Found a few different new restaurants that I can't. Remember the name of the Turkish place we went to that night?
Was it like Zesty's?
I think so.
It was Zesty's something.
It was Zesty's.
Because they had just opened.
Yeah, just opened up like 3 weeks prior to that, and it was
Zesty Creole.
Yeah, Zesty Creole. Oh man, that was good. Right there on Canal Street.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was good.
It was.
But, that's our second home. We enjoy it. We love it, and we try to go back at least once a year because that's just what we love.
Yep. And so, lastly, just some of our favorite like road trip locations that are within a 3-hour max drive from us.
Now, of course, there's always Atlanta. But,
know, that's not one of my favorites.
Well, I mean, you know, we always go there because, you know, different reasons.
Yeah.
Family, friends, and things like that. The traffic, I mean, that's just horrible.
So, my two favorite are Greenville, South Carolina, and Savannah.
Yeah, those are my two favorite too.
And like both of them, there's so much to do, be it daytime, be it night. The variety of things to do, the good food from different I love both of those, Greenville and Savannah.
Yeah, those are my two favorites too. And we got Columbia and Charlotte. Columbia, it's about an hour and a half from us.
Columbia? Not anymore.
It's an hour maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like an hour.
It's always been an hour to me.
Hour, maybe it's closer to an hour.
Yeah.
Now from where we are. You said that like you drive fast. It's always been an hour for me.
No, it's always been out of me.
You don't drive fast though. Maybe it's.
I drive 77, 78. I don't do 90 like everybody else.
Who is everybody else?
You. You. Like that night we was coming back from the airport, Atlanta. I try. You get on my nerves. And every time I looked over there, I was like, God dog it, my ass doing 80, 85. God dog it.
Neither of which is
Now
90.
look over there, she do it again. God dog it.
Whatever.
Look at her. Look at her.
Whatever.
Yeah. But yep, those are our vacations throughout the years. Like I said, we just came back from New Orleans about a month ago.
I want to go back.
Yeah, ready to go back there. We just share with y'all. We have fun and we enjoy ourselves, and we're gonna continue to do that.
Yep. And we'd love for y'all to join us on social media. Let us know some places that we need to add to our travel list.
Yep.
I'm always ready to go.
Yeah, please recommend some places that, cause like San Francisco was really like, you want to go somewhere. I was like, yeah, let's just pick a spot.
Yep.
And I picked San Francisco. It was, like I said, it was decent, but I don't have to go back. Anybody got some recommendations? I'd love to hear it.
Yep. All right.
Now let's discuss it. All right. Our let's discuss it topic comes from a social media post where a young man cancels the wedding with his fiance after seeing her Facebook comment saying she would cheat for $1 million. We wanted to discuss this and just have some fun. So, Margaret?
I just remember that movie, Indecent Proposal.
Yeah, Indecent Proposal. That's the first thing I thought about.
We've actually had this conversation before.
Yeah, we did.
We decided back then after seeing the movie, and I don't know about you, but for me, it's still the same.
Yeah.
For $1 million.
Yeah, $1 million now.
I'll write the script for you.
Yeah.
I will recommend moves that you need to include because there might be a tip involved.
Might be. Hey, $1 million we can spend a good bit of money on therapy and not even touch the surface on get the debt paid off.
We have an apology trip.
Yeah. A apology trip through Europe or Africa or something. Visit like several different continents or something like that, you know.
I wonder how he did it. I wonder if it was like like he saw it and then he confronted her about it. I wonder if he was upset or if he was like calm about it and said, look, I can't do this, or if he was upset. I wonder how he did it, and if it was like when he saw it, if he knew, I'm fixing to break up with her.
Right.
Or if it just kind of, maybe when he approached her, if during the discussion he didn't like what was being said. I would love to know how it happened, because to me, that's a bit extreme.
Like, and it's just this saying that she would do it for me, but I wonder what all she said. Like, it had to be a little more.
I would hope.
Like, in the conversation, but man, I don't know. Bro.
I would hope that it would be more, but I tell you this, I've seen a lot of posts recently, and I know there's one particular group that both of us are in, and we see some of the things that they say.
Yeah.
And people, they'll post something that they're struggling with or going through with their spouse, and the people in the comments are like, divorce them.
Yeah. Folks quick to talk divorce, and it's like...
There was a post that I saw where a woman said that a man that she had met on a dating app, he said, he's apprehensive because a lot of women are going out on dates just to get a free meal. And that's their, and in the comments they were like, red flag, leave him alone, stop talking. And I'm like, you're not even going to converse with the man to see why he's saying this, like there is no, like, if when we met, if we decided after the first wrong thing to walk away from each other, we wouldn't be having this conversation now.
Exactly.
So there was no, I'd love to know, like you said, what all she said, and then how it came out, because that's a bit extreme for a post.
And you're going based on a hypothetical. I mean, something like that's probably 9 times out of 10 that's not going to happen.
Right.
I mean,
she may have meant it jokingly.
She just having a conversation.
I meant it seriously.
I'm
serious.
I'm serious.
However,
too.
she might have been joking.
I'm serious too. Shoot. I mean, hey, we could take care of a lot of things with $1 million.
$1 million, right. Maybe he was very wealthy.
I've slept with women for nothing in my past. You know what I'm saying? Like, no dollars. I ain't getting nothing out of it. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, really and truly, I mean, like, that's $1 million. Like, come on, man.
That's a deal that is hard to pass up.
Yeah. We have to talk about this thing at least. Like,
exactly.
Let's have a discussion.
That's a bit extreme to me.
Yeah.
Maybe your feelings get a little bit hurt and you let her know, I didn't appreciate that. Yeah. That kind of hurt my feelings. Now, I would laugh. Not outside, but on the inside. Because really, a random hypothetical social media post about $1 million that who's going to offer? At any rate, I would love to know how it transpired. There had to be others.
You know what I think it is, baby? It's like we were talking about this earlier. And we were talking about how people identify off of social media. Like, they'll make moves in their lives based on social media. So it's like, he's like, his ego is stroked to a degree. Like, man, she would cheat on me. And it's a hypothetical. You gonna call off a wedding because of that? Like, I mean, come on.
Right. There had to be
have
something
a serious
else.
conversation. Like, talk with her. And be like, hey, you said something that I didn't really agree with, but I mean, this ain't gonna be the first time you're gonna be embarrassed, bruh. And it ain't gonna be the last time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe embarrassed by something like that. Now, and it's worthy of him just coming to her and saying, look, I didn't agree with what you said. I took offense to that. Now, talk to me and tell me, something, but just calling it off.
Well, and then just imagine the people that they know.
Yeah, yeah.
Surely his friends are like, really?
Right.
Really?
I'd be like, bro, come on, dog. Yeah.
I mean, and for her, I mean, she might have dodged a bullet because if his feelings were hurt over a random, hypothetical, nearly impossible Facebook post, then she probably dodged the bullet.
I see if she was like, well, the next time, I don't know, Jeezy come in town, I'm going to his room and I promise you I'm going to try to sleep with. You know what I'm saying? If it was something like that,
but even
that could be more realistically with something that could happen, or she might be like, well, next time Boosie come in town, I'm going backstage. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but even if she did
that was,
I mean,
more realistic than I cheat for $1 million. Like, I mean, come on, bro.
I think all of that is crazy, and for clarity's sake, there are certain celebrities who.
Yeah.
Okay, as long as we have understanding.
We talked about that.
Yeah, as long as we have understanding.
We've talked about that for years.
I'll pick at you if you turn down the right celebrity.
Hey, we talked about that.
I'll pick at you. I'm just saying.
But, bruh.
All right.
You got to just calm down and, bruh, take a chill pill, man. Talk to that woman. And y'all get this thing back going, because, bruh.
Nah, I'm not going to advocate for that.
You're not going to advocate for that?
I'm not. Because either something else was going on, or she probably dodged the bullet.
Maybe he just needed an excuse to back out.
I think there had to be something else going on.
Excuse to back out. Like.
So I hope, I wish healing on both of them, because that was probably traumatic for her.
Yeah.
But obviously for him, there's something else going on. So
right.
I wish healing for both of them.
I'm telling you.
That's crazy.
She might have dodged the bullet, and hey, bro, in the future, don't let social media dictate your life, bro. It ain't that serious.
Nope.
All right.
All right. Till next time.
We will holler at y'all.